This topic is one track mindset. So this was the national championship for Tetris in 2023. If you don't know what Tetris is, or you do know what Tetris is, help those that don't know what it is. Explain it. Video game. It's an older puzzle game. It's an older game. There's 7 different shapes, and you're trying to somewhat put it together like a puzzle. Yeah, it's falling out of the sky.
It gets faster over time.
It gets faster over time. So Tetris, but the root word is tetra, T-E-T-R-A, and what that means is 4. And so the game Tetris, the most you can do in the puzzle is to try to get 4 rows at the exact same time. And that's a Tetris. So what happened?
Sharky won.
Yep, Sharky won. Fractal was trying to pay attention to Sharky. And while he was trying to pay attention to Sharky, what was happening in the actual game? It's going too fast and they're stacking up. Yep. And so think of each of those blocks, whatever the puzzle looks like, think of that as like a habit in your life. Think of that, not necessarily basketball habit, any habit. And you can tell if you don't have the right habits, there's compound to that, right? Compound could be in a good way. Compound could be in a bad way. And so in 2012, that's kind of when I learned this. The guy that I'm standing with, his name is John Gordon. Henry's probably heard of him because he's become very, very well known. And he's written 14 best-selling New York Times, #1 on the list, books. One of his books he wrote in 2012, and the name of the book was one word. And the whole message was what we just watched. Fractal lost because he took his eyes off the game. Fractal lost because he comparison. Fractal lost because he wasn't focused on what he was supposed to do. Sharky was behind most of the game. Did he win or did Fractal lose? And so what they say is that 88% of New Year's resolutions fail by Valentine's Day. And it's because everybody's excited, just like we have been since Christmas, since we came back. Make the most of one opportunity, and more opportunities come your way. Hey, Fractal, don't worry about Sharky. Try to not screw up the next puzzle piece. Hey, Fractal, don't look at the scoreboard. Fractal, don't see if he's left too many wide open spaces. Make the most of one opportunity, and more opportunities come your way. That's a paradox. You mean I'm going to get more opportunities if I take care of the one that I have? Coaches will always say, do your job. Don't focus on trying to get another job. Do your job the best that you can, and then you'll have an opportunity to get another job. The second sentence is the same paradox. It's another example. Go in one direction. Be focused on one thing. If Tetris is an analogy for habits, do that one block. Do that one block, and as soon as you do the one block, there's compound effect. If you did the one block right, the next one will be easier. Do one at a time. Move boldly in one direction, and then you will have more paths that will open. The last one is my favorite one. To get more, focus on less. Most prepared, least distracted. That's what I've tried to do through our first 13 games. Why do New Year's resolutions, even if you're old enough to have done it, why do most of the time they not work? You lose your willpower, right? Everybody's willpower is at the highest it will be today because they're excited about tomorrow, because human nature says everybody likes a clean start. The reason why New Year's resolutions, they say, fail is because you're basing it exclusively on your willpower. And to Lisa's point, hey man, you ain't thinking about that in April. You ain't thinking about that on spring break when you're at the beach. I'm going to take those days off. I'm going to have a cheat day, 9 in a row. But the habits, to Coach Sammy's point, they start out great. Man, I'm excited. I can do this. We only play one game this week. We're off on Wednesday. We're going to do it like this. Boom, boom, boom. And then all of a sudden the next week, oh, we got 2 games. Oh, yeah, but we haven't played on the road in over a month. One of those 2 games is on the road. And we have to travel the day before. But on Tuesday, the game is at 8 o'clock, so we're not going to be home till 3 o'clock in the morning. So are you going to do those habits on game day, or are you going to take off on Wednesday because you're wanting to sleep until noon? And that's where they're trying to do too many things. Yes? And so if you think of willpower like a battery, to Lisa's point, everybody's got a full charge starting on January the 1st. But with each passing day, how do you plug your willpower, figurative battery back in, right? Distractions are the enemy of greatness. And there's a psychological term for what we just did, and it's called attention residue. The focus was on 2 things. Yes? It's like, that's why you're not supposed to text and drive. Yes? That's why teachers don't want you to have your phone out looking at social media. That's why I don't like you guys having your phone out when we have dinner. Not because we're trying to accomplish anything other than, hey man, learn to speak. Say hello. It's all right. Learn to communicate in a different way other than with your phone, right? It's called attention residue. And so I'm not going to be too wordy, but here's what I've learned from this. And I've kind of studied this topic because my brain plays ping pong all the time. So I've had this problem since I was y'all's age. You have to figure out, to Lisa's point and to Sammy's point, how can I, myself, measure my willpower? So when you think about willpower, what do you guys think about? How far can you go with something relative to the difficulty of it, right? So Henry listens to Zach Bryan before every game. And the song is Revival. You guys with me? When I'm trying to do Max Week with Coach Gepp, I don't even say it to Coach Gepp. Coach Gepp knows the song that he's going to turn on because does it excite me? Maybe. Have I heard it 1,000 times? Yes. But it locks my brain into all I can focus on right now is this. But for Max Week, I really shouldn't be doing it for Max Week. I should just do it every day. Yes? Henry shouldn't just do it on game day. He should do it before practice, right? Relative to staying locked in. All right, so I graduated from 8th grade. I was living with my dad. Yes. And he said, hey, if you're going to go to college, you got to pay for it. This is as I was driving home from 8th grade graduation. And he gave me a red wooden nickel. You guys are not as country as I am. A red wooden nickel is literally a piece of wood that they printed like a nickel. It's a piece of wood, though. It's not worth anything. And my dad said, this is the last thing I'm going to give you. I'm 51. That's the last thing my dad's ever given me. Not mad. But when I was 13, I was like, what do you mean I got to pay to go to college? So I did pay to go to college. And I worked. Remember when we were at SMU and we had a really good shoot around? And when shoot around was over, all of you guys beat me to the bus. The Big 12 commissioner was there. Used to be Big 12 commissioner was there. And there was another guy there. And do you guys remember the first time I said BIP? I said, I only know one BIP. That one BIP was the guy that was at that gym. And that's the guy that hired me. And I worked for him every day until the day I left to go to Navarro. So I worked for him for 5 years. I bought this. That's it right there. I bought this when I was 14. It's called a Walkman. It was the first thing, I know you're too young to know. It was what you guys use your phone for. But it was the first thing in my life that you could take other than your car or the boom box in your room at your house. It was the first time you could take and listen to music. It was portable. It was the first time, if you had a stereo at home, you could buy these big, huge earphones and you could plug it up. But that was kind of like for musicians. It was the first time it was private, like you could have literally those little styrofoam headphones. So it was private, it was portable. But do you guys see on the side, there's only 3 buttons. That biggest button closest to us, that was to open it up. Those 3 buttons on the back side, there was only 3. There was, yes, stop, play, fast forward. Stop, play, and fast forward. There was not a rewind. And so what the music that went in that Walkman, it was called a cassette. You can't rewind. So if you're listening to the song that you like, you can turn it off, and when you turn it back on, it picks up right where you turned it off. Okay, so if you want to listen to it again, you had to hit fast forward all the way to the end of the cassette, and then you had to open it, pull the cassette out, turn it over, put it back in, fast forward all the way to the end of that side, then turn it back to the side you wanted to listen to the song on, put it back in, then play. Now, if there were 2 songs you liked, then it was song number 1 and song number 5. You can listen to song number 1 and you're like, I don't like number 2. It doesn't say number 2. I'm going to fast forward to 5. And so you hit the fast forward button and it's like you can hear, and it's playing the music of song 2. And you're waiting until you can hear a pause, like it's going to the next song, and then you would try to figure out how to get to 5. So you guys hear the word track, and you guys think of beats like Ninth Wonder. Buzz, I'm working on this track. Well, Ninth and I are the same age, and I'm like, hey, Ninth, I don't really understand what you're saying. What do you mean this track? Well, he's talking about all of the beats and how he's putting this drum, this beat, this words, and he's overlaying it all digital. But when I was young, a track meant a song. And that's kind of what I wanted you guys to think about. But what word can you develop in your mind that gets you going on one track? What's the one word that gets your mind on one track? Does that make sense? One thing. If you think of each day as a Tetris block, all we're trying to do is create the right habits for that particular day and trying to compound those habits with each passing day. We're only focused on our block. We're only focused on our habits. We're trying to have a one-track mindset relative to, we're trying to handle the next 2 hours playing games, and then we got work to do tomorrow, and that's the first block. And we don't want to be fractal, looking over, hey, who is playing, what's the score of that game? We can only have focus just for ourselves. We don't want to fast forward and skip to something else. We want to stay locked in on whatever is at stake for that particular day. Kind of like that Walkman when I was a kid. You can't rewind. And I think that's going to be important to whatever is about to come our way. That was what it was. We still have to do our job in order to win the game. We can't rewind. We're going to have to figure out what is it that we need to do tomorrow that helps us get better for Tuesday, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all that I want you to think about, and we'll get your word from you so that I can put it on my calendar and pray over it. But what word will help you relative to your willpower battery stay charged?